teacher, okay, who sits on the House Education and Workforce Committee. He was one of the Democrats blocked from the Department of Education last week. Let's bring him in right now. He joins the program. Welcome, Congressman. So there is a point, we were talking about with Ronna McDaniel, too, of we kind of get the point you want to make and the complaints that you have, but this idea that there's only so much you can do right now. How do you feel about that?
Well, we are in the minority. The Democrats are in the minority. But we also have the responsibility to be the voice for our constituents who are frustrated by this moment, who are frustrated with the fact that Donald Trump and the Republicans are really not doing anything to address lowering the cost of living for people, not really doing anything, in fact, the opposite of what's necessary for our educational system. You know, Democrats and Republicans actually came together in the Congress to back WIOA, the Workforce Investment Act, and actually increase funding for apprenticeships, for workforce training. And it was Elon Musk who blew it up in December. And Donald Trump, several hours later, it was not clear that it was very coordinated. I think Elon was very impulsive. And then Donald Trump said, well, I agree with it. The bill is too long. And they actually got rid of a bipartisan agreement on what was necessary for education. So they're actually not only not doing anything, they blew up things that that members of Congress from both sides agreed needed to happen, which was to improve career and technical education in this country.
Well, you know, they also want to blow up the entire department. Let me get to that argument for a moment, because Ronna, you know, expressed or presented one side of it, and I want to see what your side is, because the numbers today, these contracts that have been eliminated, what we just said at $881 million, that's a big number, okay? But to eliminate the whole department, they'd have to go through the Congress. How do you push back, though, on this kind of ideological argument about giving more power back to the states, that something's wrong in education, the test scores, like she was just saying, are down, we're underperforming, all of this, and it's better handled at the local level? What's the pushback on the argument?
The fact is that most of education is handled by local school boards and the states. About 90% of the funding for schools actually comes from the states themselves. I was a local trustee of a community college district. I was a teacher myself. State superintendents and governors and state legislatures already have a lot to say about funding. About 10% of funding for K-12 education comes from the federal government. Of course, for our universities, our research universities, there's a considerable amount of money that goes into scientific research, medical research. That's a whole nother issue. Separate from the Department of Education, the NIH issue, the NIH freezing the funds, that's a whole other dimension to this. But you know, the president wants to blow up medical research, which is what America is great at doing. We're great at it, but he wants to actually not make America great at that. And then the work we need to do with K-12 education to recover from the learning loss of the pandemic. You know, there's a tremendous amount of research that needs to get done. The research that Elon Musk basically cut.
Let me ask you about Musk, big picture then, as a final topic, because, you know, he's been given a lot of power. And it's interesting. On the one hand, you know, he says, he just said it, we were just covering this whole event at the in the Oval Office, that it's this unelected group of bureaucrats that has too much power. Obviously, people who oppose Musk say he's unelected, he shouldn't have this much power. But here's what he said about this kind of mandate that he sees himself and Trump as having moments ago.
Well, first of all, you couldn't ask for a stronger mandate from the public. The people voted for major government reform. There should be no doubt about that. That was on the campaign. The president spoke about that at every rally. The people voted for major government reform, and that's what the people are going to get. They're going to get what they voted for.
This idea that, hey, this is popular, so it's tough for people like you to push back on it. What do you say?
Oh, he's not popular. He's already held with great suspicion, the richest man in the world, not doing any financial disclosures about, look, I make way, way, way less than he does.
Well, we all do, but
I'm required to do a full financial disclosure about any conflicts of interest that I may have.
Right.
He has enormous potential financial conflicts getting access to all this students'
data. Did you hear
data.
what he said about that? He said basically, oh, if someone sees something, we're transparent, and they can say something about it.
Well, he's not transparent. If he were transparent, he would fully disclose his income and his financial interests. But
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.